We are joined now on the Warhorse Sportsbook Hotline by your head coach of the Creighton men's basketball team, Greg McDermott. Coach, how are you this morning?
I'm doing good. Good morning, guys.
Coach, how are you? I got to start by saying thank you. You and your team signed a lot of gear that's going to be used in my niece's music bingo auction on Sunday, man. So I and Byron and Jill and the rest of the family, we really appreciate you being clutch, man. You're a man of your word. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm happy to help.
Coach, let's start off here. You know, there's obviously tomorrow's senior night, right? And so you've got some guys walking, some guys not that are, you've got a lot of guys with opportunities to either come back or go. I know you've been through this a lot, whether it's going all the way back to Doug or, Tyshawn and Marcus and everybody in between, or even the guys last year. How much has that conversation with those guys changed in the light of the fact that it's not, hey, you can either go make money or you can stay in school? It's, hey, you can maybe stay in school and make some money or see what the next part of your life holds. How much has that conversation changed between you and those guys as they're trying to make those decisions?
Yeah, I mean those conversations happen after the season, not during. It's the last thing I want them thinking about right now. I want them to enjoy the rest of the season. I want them to prepare to play, the best version of Creighton basketball. So, we've never had an underclassman speak. Even back, as you mentioned, to Doug his junior year when it sure looked like he was going to the NBA, and we've just stuck with that.
Mm-hmm.
Tomorrow, Bello and Baylor and Kalk, will address the crowd, and then when the season's over, for Trey and Ryan, we'll help them the best we can through that process, and in the end they'll make a decision that they think is in their best interest.
Coach, it's interesting. You seem always so even keeled. But does one situation play to your strengths more than the other with your personality? Do you like the team that's kind of being hunted? Do you like being the hunters? Do you like kind of the more mature team that you brought back? Everybody's got some unique challenges when you have goals in mind. Is there a style that plays to your demeanor one way more than another?
We've really been the hunted now for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
3 years ago when R2 and Trey and Art were freshmen and Ryan Hawkins came in and Kalk was moving into his sophomore year. That team was, I don't know what we were picked 8th or 9th in the league, and they really did a great job and played their best basketball at the end. But really since then, for the most part, outside of a couple of hiccups here and there, we've pretty much been ranked in the top 25 for the last 2 years. So you're always hunted, and it takes maturity to understand how to deal with that. And I think last year's team, when we hit the skids with that 6-game losing streak, I think we learned a lot about ourselves and about preparation and how you're going to get everyone's best shot. And I think that's really helped the leadership of this team. We really haven't had a sustained period where we haven't played well this year. There's been bumps in the road like there has been for almost every team in the country. But the leadership of Trey and Baylor and Kalk and now Stephen Ashworth has been outstanding. And we like to approach, as you said, I think even keel's the best way in sports. You don't want to rely on emotion to get the job done. You have to rely on execution. And anytime emotion gets in the way of that, then you're asking for trouble. So that's why we as coaches and players, we can't overreact to a loss. And fans and media want to do that, and they think the sky's falling. What the heck happened? It happens in sports. And by the same token, we're not going to pat ourselves on the back very long when we have a great win, because the next game is in front of you.
Coach, I've thought a lot about how last year you obviously had a ton of high expectations, top 10 preseason. You had pretty much, or you had a ton of guys coming back. This year, the expectations and the preseason rankings were very similar, but you were replacing a couple of pretty key pieces, obviously, with R2 and Art. Internally, how much work did you think you needed to do from where people thought you were to where you knew you ended up wanting to be?
you don't know what you don't know. And, we brought in Stephen Ashworth, and I continue to believe that he was the perfect fit and the best fit for this particular team. And then, then you had the dynamic at the 4 spot with Mason and Isaac and Jason. And then, we had Jason's injury. And so that's changed during the course of the year. But, it took us a while. And I just think transfers, you look at what Baylor's doing this year in his second year compared to the first year.
Mm-hmm.
And, Stephen Ashworth's second half of the season compared to first half of the season. There's just a comfort level with playing with guys and understanding the system, trying to fit in with a group that was pretty well established. That's not easy to do. And so it takes a little bit of time. And I think, we've had a few bumps because of that. But I feel like we're trending where I want us to be trending towards the end of the season. Now, could it all end in a fiery crash? Absolutely. I mean, that's the beauty of the NCAA tournament. When you get to that point, it becomes about matchups and, hoping, you're at your best when that time comes.
Coach, it's such a fascinating watch over just your evolution watching this program. So good defensively. Everybody will always talk about your offensive prowess, and I get that too. But good rim protection, good defensive field goal percentage. You can you take away number one options a ton. You don't foul, but you also don't turn teams over a ton either for as good as you are defensively. What's in the secret sauce? Right? Do you have to be a team that commits more fouls to turn teams over more? But because you sure do play good defense regardless.
Yeah, I mean, turnovers, obviously, if you're ultra aggressive, and we're going to see a team like that tomorrow in Marquette, that they're trying to turn you over, and with that comes some mistakes. With it comes, at times you can rack up some fouls, and we're of the belief, because of how we build our roster, that taking a difficult shot to me is every bit as good as a turnover. As long as you're not getting the shots that you want. And you got you got to get a rebound and all that stuff. But our roster, I don't think, is really built. If you look at our individual pieces to get out, pressure, and deny, and full court press, it's probably just not in the DNA of what we've brought in and how we built this team. We built this team on we'll bend, but we won't break. And there's a lot of analytics games you can try to win. You can't try to win them all. And while we don't get to the free throw line a lot, we get to the free throw line more than our opponent because we don't put them there. Yeah. So all of a sudden, if you're a team that isn't built to get to the rim necessarily and get to the free throw line a bunch, then you better not be putting your opponent there 25 times a game, or you're fighting an uphill battle. So, we've kind of picked and chosen what analytic game that we want to win. And, shot selection certainly one of them, and that free throw battle is a big one to us as well.
Coach, you mentioned something after the UConn game in the press conference about how that moment was led to by a bunch of people over a long time that led Creighton to being in that position to be able to win a game like that. And I kind of wondered to myself, I've rooted for Creighton for my whole life, or as long as I can remember at least. And I'm very aware of how different the program is and how elevated the program's become, especially over the last 10 years or so. Is that something like in off seasons or that you ever kind of think about and look back and go, man, this is a really different place that we're in now than you were when you took this job?
Yeah. And I think fans and obviously I was coaching, at North Dakota and then Wayne State when Dana got here. But if you would have told somebody at Dana Altman's press conference in the early 90s or whenever the heck he got here, in 2024, we're going to beat the number one team in the country in front of 18,500 people. People would have thought you've absolutely lost your mind.
Yeah.
So when I made that statement, it's not just the guys that have played for me, but it's what Dana did to elevate the program, to get it to a national level, all the work that Bruce and the people that have worked with him and then the presidents that have supported it, Father Slagle and Father Lannon and now Father Hendrickson and then Marcus Blossom replacing Bruce. So there's a lot of people that have gone to work to make sure that we have the resources necessary to have a successful program. And at the end of the day, it's about the players. Dana had some really good guys play for him, and I've had some really good guys play for me. And there's been stability in the program with Dana being here, 16 years, and now me, wrapping up year number 14, and that doesn't happen much in this sport as well.
Coach, you don't strike me as a statement game kind of guy, but you get a big one tomorrow. The crowd will be extra charged, I think, for a number of reasons. Is there anything that you're looking for in particular outside of, hey, you know what, you always want the win, but is there a style as you get to tomorrow against a team that's been tough on you?
Yeah, in reviewing the game we played, it seems like forever, but it has been 2 months since we played Marquette. We had some decent looks at the basket. I thought we did some good things on both ends of the floor, but we really struggled on the defensive glass. They got too many second opportunities, and we turned it over too much. And those are the two areas that we have to clean up tomorrow if we expect to be successful. And we've developed a great rivalry with Marquette. I think there's a lot of Omaha people that end up going to Marquette, and I think some Milwaukee folks that go to Jesuit schools in Milwaukee end up over here at Creighton. So it's a great rivalry, and obviously it's two of the top 10 or 12 teams in the country. So I think that place will have a lot of juice tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah, Coach, thanks so much for joining us. Good luck tomorrow and through the rest of the season. Hopefully we can get a chance to catch up again soon.
Thanks, Coach.
Always great to talk to you. Take care, guys.